Greetings and welcome. I'm Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well. I'm guided and led by Spirit. Trigger warning: the subject matter is of a mature nature and deals with crimes against humanity. Disclaimer: all cases are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law, whether here on earth or otherwise. This is episode 3, Who Knew? From Helene and Milton, what actually went down here. And of course, episode 2 dealt with more the human aspects, what was happening on the ground, because that was coming through as necessary. And we spoke about this chart here, and I'm currently recording this October 15, 7:30 p.m. in the evening. There is rain in the background. It's our first big rain, thank goodness. Gentle rain thus far. So we're currently sitting here in this day, and the previous episode I said let's just keep temperatures down here. I don't mean to be condescending or anything, but when there's a lot of sixes around, brings up the temperature. But now I had been preparing this episode because we were going to still deal with the background activity, if you like, and having answered a number of questions out in the community, and that is, there's certainly enough evidence to suggest that there is other shit going on around here. I was going to record this tomorrow, trying to keep a regular schedule. But when I saw this, Southern Florida's future is at risk from rising sea levels. Florida's sinking future. Now, who's pushing bullshit? Right? Who is pushing bullshit here? And therefore, I quickly just got the slides ready. Now, the yellow zone here is where we can find activity, in my opinion. And if you missed the previous episodes, it would be advisable, but a quick summary: there are portals, number portals. So on the day of Helene, there's a 9 and a stack of numbers. That's a portal sequence. This is where energy levels are at their peak, at their highest. A community member actually mentioned this is where portals open, close. We'll go deeper. Now, in both hurricane situations, the portal sequence happened in the middle of the ocean, or at least the second one. We must just double check the first one. The issue around Florida, I believe, having now spent several hours on this, and I know this is going to sound ghastly, is technically this piece of land here known as Florida. This piece here is technically in the way of things, and that is why, and I will show it. That is why when I saw propaganda bullshit media like this, then you know something's up. Now there's a third storm approaching. Currently it looks meek and mild, potentially can be rough by the time it gets here, aiming at the Canary Islands, etc. Because if we if we believe the theory that the portal opens in this area, the in and outs are happening here, but I still believe there are tunnels within, underneath happening. And if you are a familiar, how can I put it, enthusiast about extraterrestrial activity, here we find the Bermuda. So the Bermuda Triangle technically is in this area here as well. So who's shitting who? And that has always been something that piqued my interest, having had my own alien encounter myself. So what is the chart showing us? Now there's a lot of information here. Now I just want to say as an overview, and we'll go through it step by step. As an overview, I believe, it's almost like there are 3 layers of story happening here. That's the first thing. So the discernment element comes into play, identifying the threads for the threads, if you like, and what is accurate within the sequence of numbers, because there's a lot of activity happening here. On one hand, we can say there are beings, let's call it beings for now, or major energy activity leaving this plane. 1. The re-entry for Hurricane Milton, I have not gone as deep as what I've gone with Helene, is because I believe Helene, for me, Helene, in some respects, if you had to compare the two, Helene was the fake one. Now the question is, was Hurricane Milton created as a result of this bullshit here, this fake one, or was it going to come around anyway? Or is it part of the original sequence, which is probably the case? Got to test it. Okay, so where to begin? Now, I'm going to go on the physical Earth, because there is a theory about the content. Beg your pardon for zooming in and out. I just want to recap everyone. There's a theory, South Carolina, North Carolina. I'm not from the area. I've worked remotely in the US from South Africa. But apparently in this area, in the Tennessee region, that is why I pointed the arrows out this way. So the theory is there's lithium, whether it's lithium or whatever it is, and I believe it may be lithium, but there's obviously other byproducts as well, right? Is evident here. On the day of Hurricane Helene, 44.8 speaks about minerals. So I'm just we use minerals colloquially, but on an industrial scale, because it's a power number, 44.8, right? So it's on an industrial scale. But the 44.8 speaks more about the what is the final product. So in other words, if we're dealing with humans going to the mall to look for a ring or a bracelet or a whatever necklace, then it's the end product of the mining. So in other words, the jewelry. Okay. Now we have evidence of raw material, 46.10.1. Raw material, earth 4, raw 6. Okay. So in other words, there is mining going on already, and here's where it gets a bit weird. You ask yourself, how can it be going on already? I've discovered during the meditations on this episode, and that is right beneath our feet. Under the water, here's 20, hidden 2, 20, outcome 2, under the water even. If you are of a super being race with high-end technology, and there's human activity as well around it, the layer cake is deep. So when the storm hits, now it's quite interesting, now just from my perspective, again, not being from America or even been there, that a storm that comes through here, and this is obviously a graphic from the second one from Milton, but pretty much the same area got hit again. But how does something get hit so bad up here? That is like freak of nature, right? Because I believe a lot of people are saying freak of nature, unheard of. This is going to sound like popcorn and bubblegum, right? So while the bullshit is happening and the storms and the chaos is happening upstairs, is that the earth is being depleted beneath you. What episode was that in? I did a show recently, and I've just been reminded through, like I mentioned before, I get images. And even when I was an editor, video editor in professional documentaries, etc., I was under such pressure that I was shown the image of what the next shot should be from my bin of video elements, right? Now, there's a place in South Africa called, it was during, oh man, I'll get it. I'll put the thumbnail, I beg your pardon. Long story short, about this concept exchange. There is a place in South Africa in Mpumalanga called, colloquially known as Adam's Calendar. Now, there are approximately 3 theories about what happened on top of that mountain. I've been out there myself. I've experienced the energy around that place myself. There's a theory that on top of that mountain, and in the position, and the reason why certain rocks and so on are positioned in certain way through resonance and frequency of the earth magnetic field, that can teleport, or was used rather as a teleport back in the day, very far back in the day. For example, the gold resources in Africa for use on another planet. It's been done before. The alarming thing that's happening as we speak, or it's happening in this time zone, in our lifetime, as it were. I mean, we can argue it goes back decades, right? So here's the exchange number 38112. This is industrious exchange. So for example, it's not simply 112. For example, it's 38112. It's big. 46101. Earth 4 materials. 46 raw materials. We can say it gets ground down to a 10-1 ready to ship on one hand, however you want to call what the definition of ship is with these guys, right? Or export. Here's it even here, 49, 34, 22, 4. This is Earth processing here. Earth processing. So while in this blue zone here, while all the inhabitants of those areas up north of Florida, the North Carolina, South Carolinas, Tennessee, you guys are going through hell here on the surface. Remember the concept of, if you're a real-time viewer, the concept of the shop window? Humans are getting devastated on Earth by massive winds, weather, all the 8s, weather, wind, 7s. But now once we start going underneath, there's busy processing on a big processing. So look here. Now in the +9 of effectively the day before Hurricane Helene hits. Look how ready this is. All these 8s, 4 8s. This is on, I know we spoke about these numbers in previous episodes, these 4 8s here. What is going on here? It's like all the big machines are already in place. $44.8. Industrious mining engineering. All right, standing by. All right, we're all ready. Then the next day. Thrusters, boosters, however you want to talk about it, but shit goes down September 27. No one's going to be monitoring what's happening underneath while hell is breaking loose upstairs. Now the processing begins. Look at all this big material here. Here's big energy, 33, big energy, big energy. And 39.12.3, it's the same as stealing, abduction, stealing, taking control of, theft. And where is it going? In the +6, other worlds. Another world, 50, outcome 5, and I will cheekily say confirmed, 50, outcome 5, another world. From a basic level, from humans that disguise themselves as humans on this plane, 15.6 fake Kate number, 15.6 fake humans. When they leave, they also have to go through a process. Reskinning, 16.7. 16.7 is also the number for shapeshifter. Shapeshifter, 16.7. The next day we see 17.8, if you want to call it like the next day, but we see the 17.8. Reptile. Hidden. Mass raw production. Now this is the interesting part. 37.10.1. So who are the aliens getting confirmation from? Or beings, whatever you want to call it. Extraterrestrials. Why is the port authority, if you will, insisting on a stamp in the passport book? What's the trade-off? The byproducts for the humans on Earth. But we have a problem. This piece of real estate here is technically in our way of operations. We can make things a bit smoother if these weren't here. I mean, if you're the COO of Alien 101, and then when you see posts like this, Florida's sinking future, southern Florida's future is at risk from rising sea levels. And I needed one more confirmation. On the Hurricane Milton sequence, in the +3 of the day after, if you like, of Milton, we see hidden 22.4. Hidden 22.4. Hidden agenda. Look at all these lizard numbers here. Reintegration, because now they're coming back. This is confirmed. Now I want to just double up on the because during the reading, I believe it was of this episode, I mentioned there's a second dropping of UFOs into the ocean. Now at the time it was to my right and in a bit more in the distance, so I believe it's still coming. There may still be anomalies on the way. And it may even be soon, actually. Because if you look in the real, October 17, there's another portal sequence here. And I think, let me just double check here quickly. Yeah, this is the real life days I flagged when we did the real show. But now I want to just explain something about this hidden Earth situation. So when they're leaving, they're going somewhere. When they come back, they're coming back to Earth. Earth is 20. 40 outcome 4 is bigger than Earth. Could it be a thing like Saturn? I mean, what we know about the planets or whatever that exist out there, our knowledge of it may be there's no life. Meanwhile, there's a whole fucking party going on there. A whole world going on. Bigger than Earth. Earth 20. Bigger than Earth. And I'm going to say this. There's also humans being exchanged here, huh? There was a oh yes, this is a very interesting or very important piece of information. There's anomalies in numerology. And this is why I'm of the belief we are more than just a number. But hear me out. When the first portal opened, September 27 in the real, we have an 18-9. So the portal's open, we can say, right? Now, the next time the portal opens is here. Now, because I did the energy flow, it technically is this day here, October 8, which should be 9 days apart, because we work in, if we take the theory of minimalizing numbers down to single digits, 9 is the loop. But there's an anomaly now, because the portal is open here on the 27th. Then we go 28, 29, 30 in the real. Effectively, there's a 48-hour to a 72-hour missing loop, if you like. There's something missing between the 48 and 72 hours. Now, I'm going to explain it by showing you a visual. Here's the October calendar that I'm busy building. Now, when we're leading up to October 1, we see the outcome 10-1, right? Now, leading up to the change of a month, we see September 29th has an outcome 10-1. September 30 has an outcome 11-2. Now, because September ends on September 30th, we now go into October 1, but gives us the outcome 10-1, then 11-2, then 12-3. So if you take it on a continuum basis, so we go 10-1, 11-2, 12-3 would be the proper number to be here from a continuum basis. So there's an anomaly even in the calendar of 48 hours. That is why, for one reason, and it's not actually the reason why I'm telling you, but for one reason why I do the energy flow. Because it keeps the continuation of the numbers. But in the real, there's an anomaly. There's 48 hours. And now, this 48 hours is where I believe they are the most vulnerable. Is between the process of reskinning, going back to whatever the origin is, and then simulating back to their hidden earth or coming back to underwater earth. There's a 48-hour gap here. So the 48-hour gap can include and I'm bridging continents. The episode with Kate Middleton visiting Southport. We note that event didn't take place on the day that was supposedly that it took place on. So where were they? Or why was it done beforehand? It's because people are in transit at the moment. Well, we can argue, right? But between these two sequences here, people were moving in and out. I keep saying people. There was exchanges, rerouting, going back home, coming back, whatever, 9-day holiday, but there's a missing 48 hours. And it's in these 48 hours is where we find the weakness in the chain of events. There's very little else that is weak in the system except for those 48 hours, and that's during the transit hours. So in the Kate Middleton case, who are the fake stand-ins? Who are the fake stand-ins? While the real ones go away, go back home, tuck in the kids again, speak reptile language, whatever they speak, and then they come back, replenishing resources under human beings, right under their feet. right under their feet. Listen to me. Right under their feet, while the worst was happening above. I bet you no one had an ear out to say, well, did we hear any drilling? It all lines up. But there certainly is a hidden agenda. I haven't gone too deep here. Like I say, there's layers here. I'll meditate on it over a bit more time. Oh yes, there was just one thing I'm going to just clear up. If you are still listening, thank you. There was a comment about what has Tesla got to do with all of this? Now, if you watched or did not watch the Tesla episode that I did, Tesla had many patents. Some that the society would have known about. And it was the Americans in conjunction, well, Americans loosely, but I believe particularly the Army and of course particular agencies were interested in those ideas. But because we have a 44.8 around, it means one of those ideas has actually been used. Because there's fingerprints of Tesla around. It's not to say he was doing this. No. There's influence. Yeah, 3710.1. Yes, Tesla's details here. 3710.1, 17.8, 17.8. It's not to say he was here, but there's essence in what is going on here. Does that make sense? So that is why I'm saying, when you look at this number here, 3710.1, that's alien and human. There's transactional elements going on. What is going on? To end off, I will continue to meditate on this, monitor the current situation, because now there's a third storm coming in, not as big as these, but I would imagine if it does progress and there's eyes on it, that it could cause a lot of damage to these smaller islands. So let's keep an eye on alien hunters. Here's a good hunting ground here, in my opinion. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I do appreciate you. It means a lot to me, and we can get the message out. And please share your comments and thoughts. Stay safe, stay alert. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.